you want to speak at this MSG thing? I go, sure. Out of character for me to speak at a Nazi rally. I was just in Israel, but I took the gig. She is some sick bastard, that Hillary Clinton, huh? What a sick son of a... The whole party, a bunch of degenerates. Low lives, true haters and low lives. Every one of them.
I don't know if you guys haven't noticed yet, but we talked about some aspects of the Democratic Party. They've basically normalized what's called narcissism. And people who have dealt with narcissists, there's plenty of videos, plenty of information for you guys out there. But one thing that a narcissist always does, and this is how they like to victimize their people, that their targets, you understand? It's called blame shifting. They will literally do something, they are perpetrators, and then they'll pin the the act of perpetration on you. And we saw this during October 7th, you know, when Israel got attacked, where a group of terrorists were allowed to rape, pillage, and murder men, women, and children. They burned them, you understand. This footage was all over the internet. And again, the world, the UN, and people on college campuses here in the USA, you still see this today. They still heckle Kamala Harris's rallies. They're pro-Palestine. You know what I'm saying? But the whole world believed that they were, the Palestinians were the victims when Israel retaliated. It's to the point now where Israel doesn't even tell America what they're going to do. Like the pager attack, if you've been paying attention to that stuff, guys, they didn't tell America about that because they know America's compromised. They know America funds terrorism. They know that this leadership, Biden-Harris, is compromised. And they're behind a lot of this stuff. They're in association with these people. But that's just one minor example, you know. Now the perpetrators are the victims here in the story. It even got to the point where USA was telling them specifically, don't go here. And come to find out, Israel doesn't listen to them. Netanyahu does not listen to them. And that's where they found a large number of hostages. So it has to make one think, like, did they know that the hostages were there the whole time? But you're here when you come on TV, you know, you're saying don't. But, you know, did you know where they were the whole time, America, Kamala Harris and Joe Biden? And we have another situation here where I'm just going to barely address this and then I'm going to be done with this, because a lot of you just don't understand what's at stake here. You really don't. You've been so brainwashed, it's not even funny. But they got away with saying that this was a Nazi rally, you know, and that in itself, if you want to be technical, is racist, guys. You're calling a bunch of Americans who care about this country racist and you know, Nazis. To me, that's just insane, guys. It really is. You know, this was supposed to be basically the worst thing since that 1939, whenever it occurred in Madison Square Garden. A Jewish man walked in there, protested of what was going on during that old event. And they basically beat this dude to a pulp. And the guy that they beat up ended up being charged and thrown in jail and everything else, you know what I'm saying? But imagine comparing that with where you had a guy, I think his name is Ross Rosenberg. If you saw his speech, he's out here yelling, you know, he makes a joke like, hey, it's pretty crazy to have a Jew at a Nazi rally, you know? And he starts laying it in on Hillary Clinton. He calls her a sick SOB. I'll try to keep the expletive language to a low here, you know what I'm saying? But he was very vivid, and he was calling out these people who he says are sick SOBs. It's the same stuff I tell you on this channel, but really went into it. They had black speakers, they had white speakers, they had all that, you understand, Jewish. They had Hulk Hogan. It was a pretty historic event. And the only pearl, or the only grass that they're trying to clasp onto, of course, is where the dude talked about Puerto Rico being a floating trash island. Now, if you actually do your research, you'll see that they do have a trash landfill problem in Puerto Rico. But the guy was laying it in on black people, white people, and everybody else. And it's pretty sad and pathetic. This is what the country, thinks is more of a important issue than basically getting conquered and destroyed, which is my point. The truth of the matter is America has gone weak, has become decadent, and this is why we focus on stupid things such as transgenderism, abortion, and things that don't matter. Meanwhile, we've talked about BRICS very slightly on this channel. We have this group of experts, again, that are leading this country into destruction. Their foreign policy is atrocious. They go to these countries and they say, hey, you have to incorporate LGBTQ nonsense, and then we'll give you some money. And then you have groups like the Russia and Chinese, they go to these countries and they're like, hey, we'll give you military training. You understand, we'll make this relationship between us reciprocal. You know what I'm saying? They're here offering some pretty practical things to these countries, and these countries are starting to be gobbled up with this movement. And of course, they don't want the dollar as the world reserve currency anymore. But on top of that, you have a country of weak and feminine man, because this is also what these traitors have done to this country, is indoctrinate people that you have to basically put women up on a pedestal and that men are just dumb. And the whole point, the whole goal, you'll see they're doing this in the UK and everywhere else in the Western Hemisphere. The whole point is to make this country weak. And I've been telling you, they're just using women as useful idiots, and women are starting to find out this thing is terrible. It's really not working out, The old ways are a little bit better, where a man is a man and a woman is a woman. But you got a bunch of weaklings who are always emotionally triggered. We've talked about how they weaponize emotions today as well. And instead of you people thinking straight and paying attention to what's practical and what matters in the world, you're more basing your reality off emotions, just like a female, you understand. This is why they create programs like emotional social learning as well, and they're trying to teach our youth this as well, the youth that do survive abortion. You know what I'm saying? This whole thing is just funny. I still believe God's hand is on this, but I'm here in Arizona. I know a lot of Border Patrol because I am in the military, and a lot of military guys work Border Patrol, those in the National Guard, and they're telling me how there's an influx of Russians coming through Mexico, and they're carrying large cash of large wads of cash, large amounts of cash, and they're able to get through Mexico just fine. They're not even touched. Mexico may be a potential target of BRICS as well. They may join BRICS' cause as well, or they may be doing some deals or something. But I just want to let you guys know that your weak emotional nonsense, that again, just like topics like abortion, and you think this emotional racism, to play victim, are the most important, things that are wrong with America. I hate to break it to you. You understand. You guys are going to find out what happens to weak and feminine nations. This process has happened to so many nations. Rome, we could mention so many great civilizations that have been destroyed when they get to the point that America is basically at right now. It was no different with Rome when it came to the homosexuality, transgenderism, everything. But this country has grown weak. You got a group of males that are not motivated. They don't want to get up and work. And quite frankly, they're told whenever they turn on a television and watch a show or something that they're dumb and incapable and all this other stuff. And the only way that you can really get by in this country is to be effeminate, like Kamala Harris's husband, and of course Tim Walz. If you want to express your true nature, which is true masculinity, which is constructive, does great things, is built civilizations and sustained, the world for that matter, that you're toxic and you're a caveman and you're what's wrong with the world, when that's just not the case at all. But these people, I'll give you an example. Chinese soldiers, they're taught to basically survive off a ball of rice for weeks if they have to. These people, they don't have issues with rightly identifying who's who in their system, you understand? And their soldiers are, I'm trying to tell you, if they were to attack this country, I'm telling you, a lot of Americans, a lot of you would not be ready. And a lot of you just think that this DEI inclusion, rainbow nonsense is going to be a factor at the end of the day when it's not. I've been telling you guys this, you know, the enemy's not going to care or affirm your feelings and all this other nonsense. He's not going to affirm your victimhood. The whole point of this whole process that America's been going through is to compromise this place. So especially if you're men, I need you guys to really start, I need you to really start getting back in touch with reality and not your emotions, all right? Okay? There are bigger things at stake here. And again, we didn't have these problems in the 90s. You understand. I was watching this movie, Dusk Till Dawn, and there's this part, you had Harvey Keitel, George Clooney, and you had like this Asian actor who I don't know who it was, but it was a young man, you know, and Harvey Keitel plays this preacher, and you know, this is what I loved about the 90s. It was so great. You know, and George Clooney, he's a criminal and he's with his brother and they're running from the law. They're running from like the FBI and everybody else. Well, anyhow, they both eventually meet up at the same place. George Clooney and them are trying to get to Mexico so that way they can, again, escape the FBI, whoever else. And the preacher, Harvey Keitel's character, is tired and wants to just sleep in the bed for a night before they continue on to Mexico. And it's funny, George Clooney, they end up going into their hotel room, you know, and they see this dude sitting on the bed with like the little Asian guy. And he's just like, are you a couple of faggots? And you know what I'm saying? Like today, people would just be outraged by that type of stuff. You know, when you see this older white man with a young Asian boy, and what are you supposed to assume in that situation? And you know, he delivers a pretty funny line, I think. And you know, people, they could laugh at that and not be offended by it. You know what I'm saying? They could see the you know, the humor behind that, you know. And today, you know, a guy, he did his research, and you look at this yourself, there is a trash problem on Puerto Rico. And he was attacking black people. He's told one of the black people that were sitting there at the rally that their head looks like a lampshade or something weird. Like, this dude was just going in on everybody, to be quite honest with you. You know, and he's a comedian as well. Some of you, if you just can't get past that stuff, then, you know, and this is what America is going to start basing its reality on. America, just like the rest of these effeminate, weak nations that ended up, you know, thought they were on top, became decadent, and it deserves to be conquered. It's just that simple. It's being conquered right now with the people that you think are backing you, such as Joe Biden, the Democrats, and Kamala Harris, of course. These are the people. We're already in the process of being conquered. So I hope this video kind of awakens some of you. Again, if you can get past your emotions and feelings and start paying attention to what's practical and what really matters for this country. Again, the enemy's not going to affirm your victimhood, so enemy ain't going to have no mercy on you either. They're infiltrating our country right now, and they've already infiltrated it, and they've already infiltrated our leadership as well. I will talk to you guys later. Bye.